Hello everyone, this is Eric Burcham with Apex CCTV. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a brief overview of some of the information we gather while doing port forwarding tasks for our various digital video recorders and IP cameras, and why we need to catch all that information. So I'm just going to go down here and open up the internet and browse to our support site. You guys can actually follow along in this document if you like to. Our support site is located at support.apexcctv.com. On the left side you'll see a link called Downloads. If you click that, and I believe it's the fifth download, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm sorry, the sixth download. The title you're looking for is Generic Networking Guide, and it covers just kind of basic concepts related to the CCTV industry and networking and port forwarding, and it's got a lot of information that we're going to cover here. It's an excellent general resource for you guys if you need kind of a background in port forwarding and how it works and some of the pitfalls to avoid. I'm going to go ahead and click this download link, which will give me this guide in a new window. And I'll size it so you guys can see it here. And it looks like it's finished downloading. The page that we're going to cover today is actually just one page. If you go to the glossary here at the top, or I'm sorry, the table of contents at the top, and then click on Information Gathering Checklist, which is on page 7. This is something you guys can download and print out just this page and sort of fill it out by hand at your customer's address or on any devices that you're testing. And this is just a checklist to ensure you've got everything you need before you begin. I'm just going to touch each one of these briefly, and then we'll cover how to find all of this information in separate videos. The first one that we have here is your router's internal IP address. This one is really critical to have because you need it in order to log into your router and do configuration for port forwarding. Your router's public IP address, this is something that your customers will browse to have their ports forwarded through to their DVR or IP camera or whatever other device you're forwarding ports to, maybe a web server, a database server, etc. But they do need a public IP address to reach those devices on. Your router's username and password, self-explanatory. You need this in order to log into your router and make configuration changes. Your network's DHCP range. Now this is critical to have because you want to set a static IP address for any device that has ports forwarded to it. It's critical to know your DHCP range because if you use a static address inside the DHCP range, you're going to wind up eventually with an IP address conflict that'll cause both your device you have ports forwarded to fail, and also any other device that has acquired that IP address from your router. So this is found inside your router. We'll actually go through that manually and show you how to find it. But be sure you have this and understand what it is. And if you don't, you can always just do a quick Google search for DHCP and get a quick background on that. DNS server addresses. These are so your device can resolve DNS names like www.google.com into IP addresses. So it's kind of like a phone book for IP addresses, and you will almost certainly have to configure at least one DNS server in your network device. Your network subnet mask. This has to match the rest of your network so that your device can communicate with other items that you've got running locally. You need to pick an IP address for your product. So there's kind of two rules here. The first one is that it needs to be an IP address that's not occupied by anything else, which you can test by pinging that address. And it also needs to be outside of your DHCP range. Again, we'll have a separate video covering selecting a proper IP address. If your product requires a username and password to log into it, which it almost certainly will, you need to have that information available. Any existing forwarded ports or NAT entries from your router, these are critical if you're at a customer's location, particularly somebody who's doing credit card processing will almost certainly have ports forwarded. If you conflict with these ports, you're going to create nightmares for both yourself and for your customer, and you'll be in a really critical situation where that has to be resolved as soon as possible. So best to know what those are in advance and to use alternates if they conflict with the ports that you want to use. And of course the default ports that your product uses. Some default ports would be port 80 for the web, port 25 for FTP. Most of our DVRs and IP cameras are going to use port 80 for a built-in web server. Port 5000, 5550, 6550, 4550, these are very commonly used ports for surveillance devices, and you will need to know which of those, if any, your product uses. That's about it for just our brief overview. Again, there's going to be an entire series of videos covering this information in detail, so we hope you'll stick around and check those out. In the meantime, just know that if you can gather all of this information on this one page and know what to do with it, know what it all means, you should be well equipped to finish up your network configuration task. Thanks again, and we hope you enjoy our tutorial video series. This is Eric with Apex CCTV. Have a great day.